How's it going, everyone? Today we have stories of parents finding out something about their kids that, is very regrettable that they found out because it led to a lot of uncomfortable situations. So sit back, relax, leave a like in the video to claim your free nothing, and let's just jump right into it.
And we're crying, crying, crying like a wounded animal.
So we're going to call the subscriber who submitted this first story Ben. So anyways, I'm just jumping right into it. Ben had a collection of certain photos. Okay, so Ben is actually an older subscriber. I've actually collected a few of these stories from people above the age of 7 watching the Pugs channel. This happened a long time ago, back in the 80s. So Ben is a older dude at this point. But Ben basically back in the 80s, they didn't have access to the internet. So if they wanted to look at certain images that are not very safe for work, they're probably not safe for a lot of things, viewing-wise at least, but a lot of people enjoy looking at them. I think you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Basically, they had to have physical copies of these not safe for work images. They couldn't just go online, look at something, and then delete their search history. They literally had to have physical copies of this. So Ben, when he was a kid in the 80s, had a private collection. We're just going to call it the stash. So from here on out, I'm going to call it the stash, and that's what the stash means, right? So anyways, Ben also had a private bathroom. His house wasn't big or anything. I'm not trying to say that he lived in a mega mansion or something. He didn't. He really didn't. But, his bathroom was like connected to the inside of his room. So he ended up getting a private bathroom, which is pretty cool. So basically, Ben would hide his stash in a very secret compartment in his private bathroom. Basically, there was a drawer component, like a bunch of drawers or whatever, and Ben actually he was pretty handy. He enjoyed kind of doing kind of mechanical stuff and woodworking stuff. So he made a fake bottom for one of his drawers. Yeah, he went to a woodworking shop. He found the exact wood, or at least a similar color that was close enough and would have been questionable. Color wood, or type of wood that his drawers were. He made it, he got the exact fitting, the exact cut, and basically put in a fake bottom. That means it's like a slab of wood that went on top of whatever. It's like you put it on, so you have a drawer, a pretty thick drawer, right, or a deep one. You put stuff at the bottom of it, and then you put this fake piece of wood on top. This basically makes it look like the drawer is done, that there's nothing in it, but if you were to lift this piece of wood up, you would have found it's a fake bottom, there's stuff underneath. So anyways, Ben used to always put his stash under the fake bottom, and his stash was never crazy big, so it wasn't like the fake bottom was like 1 inch above, like you open up the drawer, it's like, oh, drawer is only 1 inch deep, even though it's like 2 feet down, right? No, it wasn't too crazy big, but one day, this story all happens one day, when Ben is in a rush, and he realizes he's late for school, and that, his stash just happens to be out, and he also knows that his mom cleans up his bedroom and his bathroom every couple days. Goes through it, makes sure it's all nice and tidy or whatever, and in the bathroom does a little bit of cleaning or something. So Ben quickly throws his stash into the drawer and shuts it and goes to school. He's sitting on the school bus. He made it on time, but barely. He made it on time, but he's sitting on the school bus when this pang of anxiety just rushes through him, right? This rush of anxiety rushes through him. Great. Using the same word twice in one sentence. Lovely. He realizes that he didn't put it under the fake bottom. He simply put his stash on top in the drawer normally, on top of the fake bottom. So if anyone was to open it, yeah, it would be pretty clear. So at this point, Ben is he's freaking out the entire day at school, because he's thinking, oh my God, my mom's going to get me so good. She's going to punish me. She's going to take it all away and say I can't do anything I want to do. I'm going to be grounded for a year. This is the end of my life. He was being a little bit over dramatic. Fair enough, right? But at the same time, he had reasonable reasons to think that it was reasonable that he was worried about this. So anyways, he gets back home from school, walks in, looks at his mom. His mom looks very normal. He's like, okay, oh, okay. He's like, hey mom, how's it going? She's like, good. How's your day at school? He's like, good. And then he proceeded to go to his room. So at first Ben thinks, oh, she must have not cleaned today or didn't open the drawer. But the thing is, when Ben threw his stash into the drawer, he threw it in super messily, right? He just threw it in casually. The paper spilled all over the place. It was not put in nicely. When Ben opens up the drawer to put it under the fake bottom so that he wouldn't get in trouble, he notices that the stash of paper, right, has been organized and nicely put together. This means that that Ben's mom had found the stash. Instead of collecting it, keeping it, throwing it out, and then confronting Ben, she just decided that, oh, well, while I'm cleaning, might as well make this stack of messy papers, might as well make it nice and clean. Yeah, so Ben's mom was actually really cool about it. I mean, I guess she was just realized that this is just a natural part of, like, growing up. And a lot of teenage guys will definitely be a little curious when it comes to this stuff, and it's just not worth making a big fuss out of it. We're going to call the subscriber who submitted the next story Steve. So anyways, this is more of a contemporary story, but Steve worked at an Apple store. And because he worked at an Apple store, he came in like a lot of people would come in with problems. And most of the time he'd be like, did you restart your computer? They're like, no. And then they restart it, the problem's fixed, whatever, right? But one day, a mom came in with a phone. And she said it was her son's phone. And she was complaining that he had ran out of storage and that she bought and that it makes no sense because when she checked his settings, that the calculator was taking up 80% of the storage. So she's like, this has to be bugged. I need you to figure out what's going on in here. So, at this point, Steve, who worked at the Apple store, had never heard of the calculator app taking a lot of storage, right? I mean, what does it do? It doesn't even hold the strings of the numbers, to my knowledge. You just go in there, you type some stuff in, you get an output. That's going to take up kilobytes or maybe megabytes. It's not going to take up gigs, right? This thing was taking up gigabytes and gigabytes. So Steve at first thought, okay, well, something is definitely messed up with this. So he takes the phone and he looks at the calculator app that's on the front page. And Steve immediately realizes that something's wrong about the skin of the app. The skin being the little thing that the image that shows when you look at the app, right? He's like, okay, there's something a little busted about this. So he realizes that this is a third-party calculator. So at first he was a little worried that it was installing viruses or something. But so he opens up the calculator and remember, the mom of the son is watching the whole time. And Steve's like, okay, well, this calculator isn't our standard calculator, so I want to make sure your son hasn't downloaded any viruses onto his phone or something. He opens up the calculator and he's just like, well, this looks like a pretty normal calculator. And he just hits the plus button just to mess around with it. He doesn't enter anything else. He just kind of hits the plus button. And when he hits the plus button, the app completely turns into something else. Yes, this was a fake out. This was a hidden app. I don't know if you guys have ever seen those, but there's photo storage apps, there's note apps, diary apps that they look like a different app. They look like calculator, settings, weather. They look like a very innocuous app that no one would ever open. I guess, yeah, so it just doesn't make sense for people to open it up or whatever. And the whole idea is hidden in plain sight. Because if you have an app that says, secret diary, do not open, someone might open that, right? But if you have an app that says calculator plus, no one's going to open that, right? So sure enough, Steve had accidentally opened up the private image account of this mom's son, right? And by hitting the plus was apparently for this app, the secret feature that opened it up or whatever. And he didn't even know. He just did it by accident. And there was hundreds of photos and videos that were, to put it lightly, not super safe for work. And Steve looked over and the mom looked horrified. She was like, oh my God, this is no calculator at all. This is filthy. This is terrible. My son can't be looking at this. And Steve's like, oh, okay, ma'am. I think this explains why the calculator is taking up so much space. As you can see, these images and videos are pretty large. So this is probably why the calculator is taking up so much space. And she takes the phone from him and says, thank you for what you're doing. My son is never going to hear the end of this. And Steve felt really bad because he's like, it's not that deep. Yeah, he should kind of chill out a little bit if he's taking up this much phone storage. But bro, just chill out. It's just not that deep, bro. What? Yeah, so that mom walked away super angrily. we're going to call the subscriber who submitted the next story Ian. So this isn't really a parent and a son. This is more of an older brother and a little brother, but the situation is absolutely hilarious, and I know you will enjoy it. So Ian shares a YouTube account with his little brother. I don't know why. I mean, his little brother was like 12, he was like 16, and he just never really used YouTube, and his parents were like, well, your little brother really wants a YouTube account, but we're only going to let him use it if it's also yours. And he's like, okay. I guess their theory behind it was like, if he's on the account too, he could monitor what his little brother was doing, which is not totally true. It's not totally wrong, but it's also not totally true. I just think that they didn't know how YouTube worked or whatever. But this got really bad. This was a terrible idea because one day Ian was in class and he had to do he was presenting on the whiteboard. This was like a math class. And his teacher said, hey, Ian, can you screen share your computer and look up on YouTube how to find how to factor a polynomial or something like that? It's a math class, right? Ian's like, sure, whatever. Plays his phone or his computer, so now his entire screen is on the big screen, loads up YouTube, and you know when you type in YouTube, right, the YouTube search, it shows recent searches made by that account. So remember, Ian never uses this account. However, his little brother uses it a lot. So Ian loads up YouTube, he types into the search bar, and then very blatantly on screen, there's searches of hot Fortnite sexy moments, nice Minecraft boop. It's the most degenerate, stupidest stuff you've ever seen. And Ian notices this immediately. And unfortunately, so does the rest of the class. Real quick, if you made it this far into the video, comment parent down below. That'll be the secret word of the day. Leave a like in the video to claim your free nothing.
Connor's racking up so many bitches.
You already know. Yeah, anyways, though, also subscribe if you're new to the channel. And also, I just want to make it clear, the song in the intro is made by one of my friends, also moderator in the Discord server. It is also linked down below, so if you enjoy the song and the intro video type thing, like the intro card or whatever, make sure to go check it out, Spotify, Apple Music, all those type of things. Go support it. It really does help out. It's got a smaller band, so every stream actually means substantially more than any other artist than it would to other artists. So yeah, let's get back to it though. So yeah, Ian is presenting in front of everyone. And it's just kind of at a point where he realizes that everyone on screen sees his search history of hot Fortnite boob sexy moment compilation. The most degenerate, ridiculous stuff you've ever seen. And it's super embarrassing. And Ian has two options. There's a fork in the road. He has two paths he can follow. The first one is he can keep going on, and he has to make this choice very quickly. Because if he chooses the first option, speed is important. His first choice is he can just keep going. He can just search up the thing and pretend like nothing happened. Ian does kind of know that people are noticing, though, so he realizes that option one is too late. He can't pretend like nothing happened. Option two is try and explain his way out of it without looking like a complete idiot who's just trying to cover up for his own mistakes, right? Ian chooses option two. So Ian pauses for a moment, laughs, turns around and says, I share this account with my little brother. Looks like we know what he's been looking up in his spare time. The whole class laughs, but you could kind of just tell that they weren't laughing at him, they were actually laughing with him. The thing is, though, so yeah, Ian's actually, he was pretty lucky that people believed him because there was a very likely scenario where he would have said all that, been like, haha, my little brother has access to this account as well. That's why all these really weird search results are in my YouTube search history. Ha ha ha. And no one would have believed him. I think he just said it naturally enough and most importantly, confident enough that, or with enough confidence that people did believe him. Or at least that's the vibe he got. Because I think he would have noticed if people didn't, they would have some would have awkwardly laughed, but a lot of them would have just had really wide eyes and looked at each other and were like, oh, damn, bro. So yeah, he actually made it out of that alive. And when he went back home, Ian was like, hey, bud, talks to his little brother. He's like, just so you know, we do have a shared YouTube account. His little brother hasn't caught on yet. And he's like, and I was in class today and I went to go look something up. And if you don't know, when you look something up, it shows you your past search results. And the little brother's face is like, meh. And he's like, it's fine. I really don't care. Like, just try and clear that stuff after you're done, right? Because I'm not trying to log on and have people think it's me. His little brother's like, yes, I'm sorry. Like, and he's like, it's cool. It's like, you're good. I don't care. Like, you're looking around the internet for the first time. It's fine. I'm not going to tell mom. He's like, thank you. And he's like, yeah, on condition that you clear it after you're done so that it isn't in my search history. And Ian's little brother's like, yes, 100%, I got you. And Ian's like, cool, then we're cool. All right, final story. We're going to call the subscriber Clarence. Anyways, Clarence is a dad at this point. And Clarence, the dad, right, got a message from one of his friends, I guess. Friends being like, he knew another dad who had a son who went to the same school as his daughter. So kind of friends by kids go to the same school, that type of friendship, right? And the friend is like, hey, I thought I'd just send this to you. I don't know it's totally fine. I just wanted to make sure this is something you were aware of. Basically, his son, right, not the subscriber's son, or maybe not subscriber, maybe this is, I honestly don't even know how this story got to me. I don't think anyone above the age of 7 watches my videos, but somehow a older subscriber, I think some older people do. If you look at my demographics, I actually do have weirdly, a good chunk of older people watching my videos. So hello there if you're above the age of 20 watching me. Cool. Anyways, he got a message saying that, hey, my son found these photos online of your daughter. And he sent an OnlyFriends link. I have to say it a little weirdly so YouTube doesn't get mad. So at this point, Clarence, who didn't know before, now knows that her daughter is on the OnlyFriends, or I should say the Lonely Friends, so that YouTube doesn't think anything. Most of you guys know what that is, right? That site where you can sell certain stuff and receive money. But it's not like eBay. No. It's much more like the other stories I've told you. But, so at this point, Clarence is sitting down with this information, and he doesn't really know what to do with it. Because he does respect the autonomy of his daughter, but he also worries for her that this stuff might be damaging later on. So he's really thinking, okay, is it my right to come in and make the choice that I think might be best, which would be to close this thing down and try and limit the damage? Or do I just let her do what she wants? Because she was 18 at this point, don't worry. But she was seniors in high school. So she's about to go live her own life and make her own choices. And Clarence doesn't know what to do. Real quick, comment down below, if you're in this position, what would you do? I'm genuinely curious. Clarence talks to his wife, mother of the daughter, right? And she's oh my God. But Clarence eventually, they sit down, after a long conversation, say, she's 18, she's an adult, she can choose what she wants to do. While we might think that this would be damaging long term, potentially, maybe not. Maybe culture will change enough by the time that if it was to have consequences, they would not be in effect because people just don't care. But Clarence and his wife decide that they're not going to say anything about it. They're going to go on as if they would before they knew this information. And while it was a close call, they decide that it is not their right to make a judgment, and that they're just going to let nature take its course, or going to let her make her own choices here. This is a very recent submission, and Clarence the dad is a little bit not so sure about his choice, but that's the choice he made. And I'm very interested to hear down below in the comment section your analysis on this. You guys might be thinking, I'm expecting comments saying, why was this even a choice? Of course she should have her own decision on this. I'm also expecting comments to be he should have stepped in and did what he thought was right to protect her because he's got perspective that she doesn't have. I'm expecting the whole spread. So I'm really interested. And with that being said, if you want to support the channel, go watch another video, leave a like on the video to claim your free nothing, and that's all. Peace.